Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. That way you will be notified of any interviews or anything that will be happening. Tonight we will be speaking with Alan Lau with New England Youth Development League. Alan, how are you doing today?
Hey, Iggy, how are you? I'm well. Yourself?
I'm great, thank you. Why and how did you start your is it a promotion? Is it a tournament? Is
I
it
would say it's a promotion.
okay?
So why did I start it? So funny, interesting you say that. I was doing a show, officiating. Either I was refereeing or I was refereeing a Muay Thai show or
Mhm.
a kickboxing show or mat bout. And then I was looking around and then it was like, wow, we have to fly all kinds of people in here for the fight.
Mhm.
And then there weren't that many fans from the fighters because now, if you're flying people from UK or from, let's say California, and then the show is in, I don't know, let's say New England area, you're not gonna have that kind of big following there, right? Because, Muay
Mhm.
Thai in the US is still relatively new. Well, I wouldn't say new, but it's like we don't have like a condensed like audience base, so it's
Mhm.
very like um what's that word? Just like like spotty, right? Because like in California, it's more like Muay Thai, versus like maybe I don't know Iowa or something, right?
Mhm.
So I was sitting inside the ring on a cage and look around, and then I'm like, wow, the promoters had to, fly all these, calibers of fighters in, and it's nobody in the stand for them. So and my little background is I've been doing judo since '97, and I've trained Muay Thai in Thailand a few times under my grandmasters, and just like every single sports we have a farm league. So baseball, you have the farm leagues, you have your little
Mhm.
league, right? And then you have your single A, double A. I'm skipping many levels, obviously. And then football, you have PE football, and then you have
Yeah.
multiple steps, right? Go all the way to the NFL. And then basketball, same thing. So now, if you look at the combat sports or sports in like combat sports or martial arts in general, then judo you have like the youth, BJJ you have the youth,
Mhm.
karate you have the youth, but like Muay Thai is really you don't have that youth thing. Even boxing, it's not really that big of a like a big youth development. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think there are some leagues, but you come in comparison to football, I mean, you can't even hold a candle to it.
Mhm.
So pretty much I was there looking around the audience and everything else, and it was like, wow, we have to spend, the promoter has spent all this kind of money, and you have like maybe 10 audience showed up for that fight. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like, and then now I'm like, all right. So now with the little kids, they really had no revenue to showcase their like skills. Like they don't even have like a goal. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I can train, in spa gym, between, within a gym or between gyms and such, but nothing that really formal. So then I know different bigger organization in the US, they try to get so I know IFA, um, International Muay Thai Federation, they rebranded into International Muay Thai Federation, and then they try to get into Olympics. So now,
Mhm.
if you have the Olympic as an amateur sports, so you maybe give the competitor an avenue to really look into something that they might want to do as a younger competitors. So that's one of those things why I'm doing that, because Muay Thai, like your previous guest before, Muay Thai in Thailand on Southeast Asia is totally different than Muay Thai in the Western world in a sense.
Mhm.
So that means just for the foundation or the whys of what people are doing is totally different. So with that, that's one of the reasons I started the whole New England YDL thing, Muay Thai.
Now, are you doing it based on the way they do it in Thailand, or are you doing something completely new to get the?
No, it's actually all the rules and regulation is actually based off of westernized organizations, commissions, rather. Those are the rules that I base upon. And so that's, then again, if you look at my New England YDL thing, it's all about having a fun and safe environment for the kids. And that no such thing will be outclassed, especially at what I'm doing, because I'm the sole, quote unquote promoter as well as the commission for all the rules and reg, and plus I ref all the fights. So there's no such thing is going to be outclassed. And everything with New England YDL is going to be very transparent, because this is my whole goal is the one is for the competitor who's like, hey, I'm training for 3 to 6 months now. I want to try this. Encouraged by their coaches or the parents and such. That's my whole point for the whole YDL, New England YDL. Like, I want the competitor, the alumni of New England YDL to go elsewhere in the future to kind of broaden their, horizon and such. And so that's my whole goal. Like, I'm not, if you want to go do this promotion, this and that, go do it. But I know what I'm doing. I'm staying behind, quote unquote, my product, and that's what I'm doing.
How are you marketing to get the parents to know what exactly YDL is about and how they can go about?
So the first year was 2019. 2018. Right, 2020 we don't have any show. So 2018 is my first show. So what I did was I had made flyers, and I actually visited many gyms, and that way to kind of know, hey, I'm doing something new. If you guys interested, come on by. And then again, like it's one of those things about reputation, because let's face it, in a combat sport in the New England area, especially, it's very small, just like everything else. Like everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows you. If you're good or you're bad, they all know about it, right? So what I did, I pretty much kind of went to every single gym that in the area who has a youth program of some kind of striking arts. And then I was like, hey, I'm doing this, and then the rules and reg is this, beginners and intermediates. There's no hitting in the head. There's no contact in the head at all, and they have, and they require pretty much every protection that you can think of, in a sense, like headgear, elbow pads, gloves, shin pads, groin protection, body body shield. Even though they are not throwing elbows, but that's for like accidental if something happened. And head contacts only allowed of competitors who is at least 10 years old and have 3 years of striking or training, or have 10 more formal bouts. So I added the bouts slash the number of bouts slash years of training into this, because as we grow, like I don't want a kid, have a competitor who is, only done it for like a year and a half, but yet he or she has like 10 bouts or 8 bouts. I mean, it's all about the experience, right? So I want to kind of level the playing field. So if you have more than 5 bouts, so now you don't qualify as whatever. I'm just throwing a numbers out there, but that's got kind of the whole point. So I try to put the intermediates, between 3 and 10 bouts, up to 3 years of training. So like, so that's kind of how I'm, kind of gauging it. Again, that's no outclass. If you sandbagged, whatever, I just stop the fight and then we figure it out later. Because last thing I want is a kid going out there and get hurt, physically and mentally. So that's not good for sports. That's not good for anybody.
How? Because you start at 6. Is it at 6?
6 years old, yes, so 6 to 17, and under different conditions. So if they, with the parents waiver and coaches waiver, so I might even go as young as 5, but that's only
Okay.
like a special case. Again, like we are still growing.
Mm-hmm.
We're very small, so everybody knows everybody, and pretty much everything's very transparent. So will be the competitor and the parents, then the coach of red corner and blue corner. Let's say they know exactly what they're going against, and there's no surprises. That's except for weight. So one thing
Yeah.
that I've experienced is from the first and the second show is that I made the weight class smaller, and also I made closer, and also made the competitor or the parents really to held accountable, for the way that they sign up. So if you sign up your kid, 10 years old at 100 pounds, and then he or she shows up at 120, then if I couldn't, if I could match you, that's at the day off. Then I mean, I'm like, I can't let you compete, at 100 pounds, but you show up at 120. But
Mm-hmm.
the other person is, let's say 95. You talking about 25 pounds different at 10 years old. That's crazy. So that were one instant that was kind of similar to that. No, not that far, but like one kid on the one end of the spectrum of the weight limit, and the other one was the other opposite end of the spectrum of the weight limit. And then so now when you add them up, now you talk about 15 pounds difference. So
Mm-hmm.
so that was a lesson learned. So that's why the second time that I changed the weight class to be a lot closer to each other. Ideally I try to get them within 5 pounds the day of the fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are you informing the parents so they can feel comfortable? Because it's a new promotion.
Hmm.
How would you go about letting them know that yes, they can trust the process and all that? Because if it's a 6 year old and they've never done it before.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Nikki. So back to what I said, is really I'm going to the coaches, and then the coaches kind of telling the parents really at that
Mm-hmm.
point, because I visited gyms before. I might try to, right now this year it's only the first year back from the pandemic, quote unquote pandemic. So I don't know like what gyms still available or they there. So I went back to the gyms that who have supported in the past. So
Mm-hmm.
because they already know who I am, how things are being ran. So and with that, actually, some of the gyms, I have 10, 12 kids already signed up per gym. So like I have more competitors sign up at this point than my total competitor sign up of my last show, which is the biggest one we have yet.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of promotions are seeing a higher interest, I guess, if you want to say, in just any type of combat sports that's happening. Because I guess since the pandemic,
Yeah.
everybody has been, just set aside and just waiting for it to happen. That people are like jumping on the opportunity to get back in.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, but now you gotta be careful too. This is the kids show. It's a youth
Yeah.
show. They all not legally adult yet. So like for me, again, it's all about safety and having
Mm-hmm.
fun. So at the end of the day, if after everything that I go through, if I have 5 bouts for whatever reason, I'm just gonna have 5 bouts, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I want the kid to have a positive experience. Doesn't mean guarantee they win, but I want a positive experience for them as a learning moment or whatever. So I that's how I'm gonna do it. Lose
Yeah.
money, whatever it is what it is. It's I do it as, imagine me as a parent having my
Yeah.
own kid out there and to compete, and then that's how I usually like to manage things. I usually put myself in the shoes of others and
Mm-hmm.
see how I would like to get done, and then um, I kind of do it the way that I think is right. And you know, from kind of visiting the gyms, talking to parents, they have great suggestions. So when I visited one of the gyms last week, one of the parents that called me and talked to me, and then one of the suggestion was to post the fighting order, competition order the day before, so
Mm-hmm.
their friends and families can know when they can show up, because for whatever reason. So for my promotion is always the youngest kids go first, and from youngest
Mm-hmm.
go to the oldest. So from 6, 7, 8, 9, and then go all the way to 17. So So that way they know they can gauge when they can show up, for whatever reason. So, but then I did emphasize one thing is this could be the order, but it's not final until the weigh in the day of the competition, the morning of. So at least that's like a guideline.
Yeah.
Some might get grabbed the day of, but that will be what happens.
What's the typical time frame of the tournament and the bouts and everything?
So for the beginners, which is 3 minutes, 1 minute round with 1 minute rest in between.
Okay.
For the intermediate is 1 minute and 15 seconds round with 1 minute in between. For the advanced is 1 minute and 30 seconds round, 3 rounds, 1 minute rest in between. And so, but the way that I do it, so if I have like a group of 3 or 4, you can't have more than one bout, and then you kind of fight for 1, 2, 3. So
Okay.
that's kind of my goal. Like the maximum bout that the single competitor will have is 3. That's the most you will have.
Okay.
So I'm trying to keep that bracket real small, but like I want to have them have more than one bout. And also, if you have a bout, let's say at like bout number 4, then you will the competitor won't get back on until like maybe like bout number 7 or 8. So that way you have like let's say every bout is 10-minute rest, you will have like 20-30 minutes rest in between, because I don't want them to get too cold right after the bout. So but yeah, plus if you're a beginner, the 3 1-minute rounds go really quick, really quick. So that's one of those things.
And how long do the spectators, families anticipate being there from?
A lot of times they there until their prospective competitors is finished, and then they hang around for a little bit, and then they leave. So it comes in waves. I mean, last year we had around 200 some odd people. Between I have about 100 something spectators, and then plus the coaches and stuff. So I had around 250 people total at the event last year.
And what time did the event end?
I think last year we went for lunch, so we definitely ended around 2:30, 3 o'clock after we clean up everything. But we start
Okay.
early. We start for waiting like 9 o'clock, and then 9 to 9:30, and then the first bout at like 10 sharp.
Oh, okay.
I'm very adamant about like when to
Yes.
go, because one of those things, if you just let it drag, you just keep dragging. So
Yeah, no, I've been to other tournaments, not a Muay Thai one, but other ones where they're supposedly going to weigh you in and do everything at 9 to start at 10, but then it comes 10 and then 11 and then 12 and then 1 and then 2, and they still haven't started. So you're not even done by like 10 o'clock at night. You're still there waiting, and it's just like,
no, that does not
seriously?
happen. That doesn't happen with New England YDL. I mean, I've been doing judo for 20 some odd years, and I've been many tournaments, and I know exactly how you felt.
Yeah.
So one of the tournament I have entered for, not judo, but for BJJ, and that was ages ago, obviously. And this another thing, just like that, I signed up for gi no gi, and then okay, I supposed to start at, let's say, 10. Okay, so I didn't. Oh no, I was supposed to start at like 1, so I didn't eat lunch until so I
Yeah.
ate at like 10, right? So make sure it's good. Then 12:30 comes along, so I'm not starting till like 2. Then blah blah blah. So I remember I didn't start until like 4:30 that afternoon.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was like, I'm done. Like I'm
Yeah.
mentally, I'm burned out. Like I was just done. So like I just went to snack bar, ate a lot of food, and then I called it a day and just lay down on the mat and called it a day.
Well, that's
Yep.
good that you have the experience to know what it feels like to
Yeah.
be a participant as well as a spectator. Because I mean, it gets tiring, and then they don't eat, and then it just drags, and it gives you it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, where it's like, you know what? I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to spend all this time waiting and waiting and waiting, and then you
That's
know.
kind of one of the reasons that I didn't go back to the types of tournament in general, because even
Mhm.
though with judo, like it could be tough too, like, but the clubs that I go to that I helped out that belong to, they do a little differently with their monthly competition stuff. So they have like all right, kids between this, you start at this. But so now you have a lot of wait time between. So let's say
Mhm.
if you get done early because now you didn't tell people to come up early, so now
Yeah.
you have to wait, right? So I don't have that problem right now. So so far, like how what I'm doing is working. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna break something that is that's not broken. But again, like I'm taking input from parents, coaches, and
Hmm.
see what makes sense to them, because at the end of the day, it's their kid, their child that
Hmm.
being in outside, inside the ring, so or cage or the mat, so that would be I definitely take their input as well,
Hmm.
process it, not just yes them to death, but really taking into see what makes sense to improve. Because at the end of the day, it's new. I'm still
Yeah.
improving. I never, I'm never gonna learn. I'm never gonna stop learning. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So when you stop learning, that's when I stop learning. That's probably the day when I, kick the bucket. So every day is a learning experience for me. So I continue to learn. So like parents or coaches, if they have anything constructive or anything, just talk to me.
Yeah.
Negative, positive, it's all good. I'm not I'm old enough to process it and not being
You can handle it.
um not be sensitive about it. So as long as directed to me, if you direct to different people, then maybe a little different conversation.
Now, where is this located?
So this time is going to be at Sparrows Mixed Martial Arts in Plastow, New Hampshire. We are doing it outside, inside the cage, with a tent over the cage. So the spectator will be outside watching.
With a what over the cage?
A tent. So now the competitor won't be like under the sun. Like so the mat
Oh,
won't be hot.
I thought
Like
they were
a
they were like gonna jump out or something. I'm like, what?
well, like a canopy. Like so
Yes, yes,
now
yes,
you're
yes.
keeping the mat cool. So one of the promotion that I work for, they actually use cage MMA cage for
Hmm.
kickboxing. And from working on that experience, I implement the same experience, the rules that I have created through the experience into here too. So with New England YDL, there's no continuously pinning against an opponent without me
Okay.
breaking it up. In the other words, you can't just really rush bowl a person, pin against them, and just keep hitting them, and then they try to move, and then all you're
Hmm.
doing is just putting weight on the person. That's not quote unquote Muay Thai. That's not kickboxing. You can get couples in, come right back out. So nobody is going to be just all they do is pin against one or the other
Hmm.
and just continue to strike. Like that's because at that time, like I don't have anything for the judges to score.
Yeah.
I just have one person continuously pressing the other. And it's no fun for it's no fun for everybody except for the one who pinning the other person, right? So otherwise, like so that's one of those things that I implemented in the promotion
Yeah.
for the state of New Hampshire, and actually Maine, so same thing. So I will do the same thing here.
Mhm.
With the ring, you can pull the ropes, right? They come back
Yeah.
inside, or you can break them. With the mat, it's like when they close to the mat, I would have kind of hold them and stop and break them
Hmm.
up, anyways. So this technically there's no difference. They just like so the competitor won't take additional damage, unnecessary damage.
Yeah. So how many? So it's just going to be one at a time, or are you going to have mats on the side?
So right now we're one competition at a time. So
Okay.
the plan is to grow the sport so I can have multiple mats, right?
Okay.
So that will be my ultimate goal. But right now, with the limitation of space and also the qualified officials who's available, that's kind of one of those things that I'm trying to work on in the next year or two, is to train more Muay Thai officials
Hmm.
to help with sports. And that comes with really working with other gym
Hmm.
owners, and also working with commissioners, or working with um, different promoters to really get that going. Because I just had a conversation with another promoters, and it's really we all try to establish something to gain interest
Mm-hmm.
in the sport. So now is for the competitors, for the gym owners, for the parents, for the officials, because now when the demand's higher, now everything became higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, like without doing an YDL, let's say, let's say you have 10 competitors, right? Or they'll tell you have 10 kids who trains per se. But now when you have the YDL or have different competitions that they can go to, especially close to the, within an hour, let's say, that's kind of what I want to use. And within an hour driving distance, now the interest might grow. So now,
Mm-hmm.
you have another competition coming up, it's once a year, so the train, so now you have, maybe your students pay may grow. And then now when that grows, if I can do more than one show, or like different people do different things, different area or in the same area, I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But so now, like you have more promotions, so now the needs for the qualified officials is then may increase. So that's kind of, it's like, chicken or eggs thing, right? But you got chicken first or the egg first. But then at the end of the day, you kind of still need both. They kind of needs to
Yeah.
happen at the same time in a sense. So you might lag a little. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is to grow the sports. That's ultimately what I'm trying to do, is to grow the sport of Muay Thai in the New England area. That's my ultimate goal.
I think it's great. I think it's great that you're doing this and you're starting, with the young kids so they can understand and appreciate what it is, because it's not really out there. I mean, it's slowly coming this way, but it's not out there. Plus, it gives the parents the opportunity to get used to having their child doing some sort of competition. Like for me, I don't know, because I'm just like, I don't know if I want to jump in the mat and separate the kids and be like, no, like don't hurt, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, as a parent, but
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. But it's a growing pain that we're going through right now too, because now as I just starting this, if you almost like a pioneer of
mm-hmm.
of the sport, not me personally, I'm talking about the competitors.
Yes.
If you start competing at 7 years old, right, as a beginner, or you train for a couple of years as an intermediate, you might only gonna compete against the same person for the next few
Mm-hmm.
years,
Yep.
because now, even though the let's say that you started at 8 years old, 7 years old, right? Let's say 2 years later, you are 9, 10 years old. Like the demand, the growth for that 6, 7, and 8
Mm-hmm.
might increase, but you are still within your age group,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now, so you're gonna, have some kind of growing pain that I'm gonna compete against, this person, again. But that is very common in most sports,
Mm-hmm.
like DC. Daniel Cormier, keeps saying, when you're at a certain level, you fight and you grind the same guy all the
Mm-hmm.
time, all day, every day. Same thing with judo. If you're a certain level
Yeah.
in judo in the New England area or in national stage, you're gonna fight the same guy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you go to Olympics, it's the
Yep.
same name. The top 10 is the same name. Let's say the top 8 out of the 12, 10, 15 competitors, whatever they may be, is the same name. So you're gonna fight the same people for a long time. And so now we're kind of going through this, what I call growing pain, or like just the nature of the sport, that you will compete against the same person for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really getting to, when that does happen, then we might have to try to figure out um, how to mix it up within the safe and environment. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something I'm looking into as well. But that's something that I'm definitely taking notice, is who they competing against all the time, or such.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you, let's say, if you're a female at a certain age group, there's only so many female at that age group at that weight. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of those growing pain, and what as I call it, at the beginning.
You mentioned that. You know how some tournaments, like jiu-jitsu tournaments, they do boys and girls when they don't have in their weight class. Is that something that you would consider or do consider? Or
So with the striking sports, I'm trying not to, even
Mhm.
though even though there's no head contact for most of them anyways, but still I try to keep it fair. So my whole thing is keeping it fair and keeping it fun and safe. So don't get me wrong, some of the females I think can definitely hold her own, if not more, against the same age boys. But just difficult right now. This sport, it's difficult to do this for the combat for the striking sport. I feel like because like in judo, same thing. You have until a certain age, you have boys and girls. They are in the same bracket, and that's totally different. And so I have thought about it actually at the beginning, but I have decided not to do that at this point. And then I'm going back to if I only have 5 matches, and I'm just gonna stick with 5 matches, if that's the case. Because at the end of the day, I just want to make sure they have fun. But however, if they come up to me and say, "Hey, listen, my daughter wants to compete against this boy as an exhibition at the end. You just want to get experience. I'm cool with that. Can you talk to the coach and blah blah blah." And their parents are they cool with that? If that's something that they want, that can happen. But this, you know what I mean. But ideally, I try to separate them. Okay. Because at the end of the day, like let's say if a kid doesn't have a competitor, right, and then I couldn't find somebody, or nobody really at that requirement at the competition day, I always give them option. You can get refund, come up and bring a sparring partner, and so you can get used to having someone like refereeing and stuff like that, or just compete against whoever. I mean I'm going back all about fun and safe. So and everything like that is transparent. So that's about really it. With that in that regards.
Yeah. How many tournaments are you looking to do per year?
Right now, just one per year. Okay. I don't know the time frame yet. The first one I did was I think in the summertime, and then the next one was like a January, and the first one I think is August, and then the next one was like a January after next year. So that's like 6 months apart, and then the whole pandemic hit, then everything closed, and then pretty much I was getting contacted with parents and coaches around April timeframe and say, hey, you want to do another one? And at that time, the whole COVID restriction was still pretty, I wouldn't say tough, but just really like uncertain about which direction they're going. Depends on the state and such. And one of the reasons that we end up doing the whole outdoor thing, because by the time they announced the tournament, that's when the outdoor mask was lifted for the state of New Hampshire. Okay. So and then I did say that if whatever requirement the competitor needs to do to go back their state, that's on them. So in Massachusetts at that time, I think they were still, if they require like you quarantine or testing to go back to the state, that's on you to get all that done for the competitors. So the whole COVID thing was one of my biggest concerns before I putting it back up, and that's why on the waiver is really kind of stating about anything about the kids' health and everything, about you taking the liability, because
if somebody wants to go ahead and enter, how would they go? What is the time frame? What is the cutoff date for it?
So that's another great question. So I have that. The sign up link is actually under New England NEYDL MuayThai.com. So you can find out all these. The sign up link is directly on my IG, my Instagram, and also on the New England YDL Muay Thai Facebook page. So I've created events there, and then you can email me at New England YDL at gmail.com, and then I can get you set up. The cutoff date for sign up is going to be the week before the tournament date. So as of right now, the tournament date is August 1st. And I have a rain date of August 29th because it is an outdoor. event, even though we have the cover and such, the spectators still need the dry place. And then I will make that call the day before, so people, they either come and don't come. So that way, the people need to travel, gotta kind of make way in the morning and all the stuff. Since I'm not a skinny person, so I have to kind of deal with the whole weight cutting the day before, make sure don't eat and all the stuff, drink more fluid and all the stuff. So I get it. So I probably make that call kind of like the night before, maybe like 8 o'clock. I kind of make like an IG live or post it on Facebook and Instagram to make that happen. But right now we're still shooting for August 1st, and then the sign up date is going to be a week before that. So whatever the Sunday before that, that is a cutoff date. And at that time, everything is final.
Okay. Is there anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, and so initially I was gonna start doing the whole grouping thing this coming weekend, but I have actually already started the grouping effort this past weekend, because I have, like I said, I have more competitors now than what I had in my whole event, my last event. So I'm just doing that now. So I will start posting the what the heck is that called? The like if whoever I could match, I'm be looking for X, Y, and Z competitors. If you know somebody, like and share, I might give out to Kevin Jr. Kevin from Yayo's gym down in Rhode Island. They always share my stuff, repost my stuff. I gotta give Alessio, Sean Schubert's gym, a lot of credit as well. They tag me in a lot of of their training videos. That's another thing too. Like if you want to show off your kids training, tag us on IG, Facebook. Dave Sparrow for hosting the gym, which is which is awesome. Thank you so much. Because of the pandemic, the other place that I had actually I think ended up closing. So that place was no longer available. And then Tokyo Joe, Team Link up in Hooksett, they have like 12 competitors right now. Is getting a lot of support from them. Nasto, Devon Powell's gym up in Maine border. I know I butchered the name. And also I have a couple new gyms that have not joined before, which is a UFC gym from Boston. They have actually a few competitors sign up, and obviously we have a Hot Knocks representing as well. And if I have not go through the list thoroughly, so if I forget the gym, please don't be mad at me. But this is what from me just browsing through, like look at all the I wouldn't say the outliers, but like looking through all the kids, and that's what I've noticed. Actually, I have another gym from Connecticut coming up from from Connecticut to New Hampshire. So I was saying that we pretty much have the whole New England representing here, because Devin and Carol's Powell's gym is right on the border of Maine and New Hampshire. So I will just say I have Maine as well. So pretty much I have everybody but Vermont. So but yeah, so I'm excited. And sponsorship. So from now till next weekend, if you are interested to sponsor the event, let me know. So have you guys seen previously before you will, we have the New England NEYDL banner, and also the gym or businesses associated with it. Italia Photography is one of my sponsors. My crew, Bimoy in by Sister Pine is one of the sponsors. The host gym, Dave Sparrow's gym is one of the sponsors. So right now I still have like two to three spots left for sponsorship, and they will be hung. The banner will be hung at the facilities, until the show's over or whatever, and hang down and stuff. So yeah. So if you're interested in sponsoring this year's event, reach out to me, and then I'll make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Make sure to send me all your details so I can add it to the description so people can see it and they can go ahead and contact you for any further information that they may have.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Same to you.
Okay.
Bye.